Welcome back to the Gun Dungeon. Got another reloading and rambling here. And today we're going to be talking about the 45 Super. There was a question asked. I made a post asking for some questions maybe I could answer here. And I'm going to try to answer the question, but it really sparked me wanting to just talk about 40 Super anyway, or 45 Super anyways. And he asked why there's not more testing on real 45 Supers. And there was only two that he listed that had tested 45 Super, and it was both 185 grains with bullets not designed for those velocities. And honestly, my answer to that is probably just because 45 Super is just not very popular, and it's not for any reason against the 45 Super. Oh, I guess I better unlock this so I can get my primers. Not for any reason against the 45 Super, because it's a great round. I think 45 Super is just not very popular because a lot of people don't understand anything about it. You know, I mean, there's a lot of unknowns out there about it. And, you know, I don't know, maybe there is one, but I don't know of any dedicated 45 Super handguns. 45 Super is essentially a beefy 45 ACP, another small pistol primer there, but it's essentially a 45 ACP that's a pretty beefy gun with another one, two in a row, with extra heavy recoil spring and, you know, beefed up a little bit more to handle 45 Super. And I don't think that's within, oh, are you kidding me? I just got 3 small pistol primers right in a row. That one's not. But anyways, I ain't gonna get this sentence out because of these small pistol primers. But it's not something that a lot of people are familiar with on how to go about even getting into 45 Super. You know, it's one of those areas of, you know, you can read 4 or 5 different articles, 4 or 5 different forums about it and get all kinds of different opinions. Some people say that even with the beefed up recoil spring, you're going to beat the guns up, especially 1911s. Just a whole lot of different information out there. And if there was a dedicated made 45 Super gun, I think it would do a lot better than somebody that just trying to discover the round and beef up a 45 ACP to a 45 Super. I mean, I've done it myself. I've looked at getting into 45 Super, kind of looked through the 45 ACP guns that I have, like, would this one work? I don't know. I think that one would work. I don't have a Glock 21, so I don't know. So, you know, the 1911s, do I really want to? Now, honestly, when it comes down to it, with a heavier recoil spring in a 1911, are you going to shoot enough 45 Super to actually wear that gun out? And if you do, you've probably spent enough money on ammunition to justify buying that gun over again, if we're just being honest about it. Because really, there's not a whole lot of ammo makers out there that make a 45 Super. Underwood is one. They do have that 185 grain bullet going around, I want to say it was 1,300 feet a second. And then they had a 230 grain bullet. I want to say it was around 1,100 feet per second advertised. Go on their website and look, double check me. But I think that was the velocities for what they had. And, you know, really one of the big downfalls to 45 Super for me is 10 millimeter. Because I can get as good or better energy and performance from a 10 millimeter, and I can get more capacity in the same size gun. And I know that that gun is made for 10 millimeter because it's a 10 millimeter made handgun. It says 10 millimeter right there on the barrel. So I'm not second guessing myself when it comes to, you know, this 45 ACP going to handle this 45 Super, which, like I said, I know there's a lot of them out there that will handle 45 Super, but, you know, you're taking that upon yourself to add a heavier recoil spring and then start shooting a round in a gun that doesn't have that round written on the side of the barrel. So I think that's where 45 Super where its downfall lies in the market itself. And the market itself is why you don't see a lot of testing on it. It's why you don't see a lot of people talking about it. It's why you don't see more people carrying it or using it for woods defense. I mean, it's a niche market. And that doesn't mean that it's a bad round. It's just not marketed correctly. Nobody makes a gun specifically for 45 Super. If they did, I'd probably buy one just because I'd feel better about it, honestly. I mean, it is what it is. But that's where I sat with 45 Super and the testing on it. If you all know a good source for 45 Super information, put a link down below so that everybody that's watching this can actually go read more information on it as well. Because like I said, I've looked several times actually, and the information seems to be back and forth on, you know, and even stuff such as reloading data. Like I can go to Hodgdon's website and look up 45 Super reloading data, and it's really not that impressive. The reloading data from Hodgdon's website can't get me anywhere close to Underwood Ammunition's advertised velocities. So from a reloader standpoint, I don't know where to even find real 45 Super data that can get me up there to compete with what I can reload in 10 millimeter. So those are a few of the reasons why I've not done much with 45 Super. I'd love to. Don't get me wrong, I would love to. But I want to know more about it. And every time that I've went to get into it, essentially what happens, this is my train of thought every time that I go to get into 45 Super. I start looking at information, what guns will handle it, what pound recoil springs, the brass differences, thicknesses in the brass and things of that nature, all that different stuff. And the brass is the same length as 45 ACP, so it would be easy to get it mixed up. Kind of a roadblock for me there on that. So every time I start looking at 45 Super, I start thinking, well, why wouldn't I just go ahead and go to 460 Roland? Why wouldn't I? Then you're going to have dedicated brass that's longer, won't chamber in a 45 ACP, because the last thing I'd want to do is have 45 Super ammunition loaded up hot, get it confused with some of my 45 ACP, and send that down my Colt 1911 barrel. That's an issue for me, and it probably is for a lot of people too, honestly. But if it was 460 Roland, I wouldn't have to worry about that because it wouldn't chamber. So that's every time that I start looking at 45 Super, I always just get to 460 Roland. And then when I get to 460 Roland, it's like, what in the heck am I going to do with this big honking semi-automatic handgun that is not concealable, it's heavy, got a big compensator on it, because all the 460 Roland compensator kits have a compensator. Big honking 45 or 460 Roland. What am I going to do with that I can't just throw my 44 Magnum on my hip and roll on? The 44 Magnum is going to be 460 Roland as far as ballistics go, and I can reload it cheaper. I have all the brass for it, all that, you know. That's just where my mind goes, and I tend to overthink stuff a lot. So maybe that's what's happening here as well. I'd love to hear your all's input on it. And if you have an argument of why 45 Super needs to be in my stable, give it to me. Because I would love to be convinced of why I need to. I try to convince myself of it quite often. And, you know, probably wouldn't take much to convince me to just go ahead and go for it. I'd probably keep all the 45 Super ammunition in a total different room. I mean, there's all kinds of ammunition everywhere around here. So I would definitely keep the 45 Super in a total different room, because as you can see, I have a lot of ammo and I'm not super organized. But anyways, that's what I got for you today, guys. I want to see what you have to say below. Give me some sources. Give me some information where I can go read more on 45 Super and learn the real ins and outs of it. But until next time, guys, stay tuned.